I started Talon and Quill as a small author-led press for a variety of reasons. Number one, I started it because I spent an inordinate amount of time writing this book for a number of years. And I spent ages rewriting, editing, reviewing, rereading, putting aside, picking back up, thinking, shopping it to my friends, what have you. And finally, I attempted to shop it to literary agents, and that did not go so well. I had a very long Excel sheet with a number of agents who shared my viewpoints, who had sort of pioneered books and authors that I felt were in the same wavelength as this book. And I sent a number of outreach out to those folks, and I very rarely heard anything back. And when I did hear something back, it was usually the same refrain. Do you have an internet following? It doesn't matter the platform, but as long as you have an audience, we will be willing to review what you are interested in giving us. And I don't. I value privacy deeply, and I think that it was almost ironic that in my outreach to receive information, receive intelligence, receive authority from the folks whose job it was or is to sort of provide such information to people like me, hopefully, their response was, hey, listen, we're not willing to take you on necessarily unless you have a following. And I've seen that this is true for other folks as well. And I think that that's a shame, because I think that a lot of books that probably would do very well, that a lot of people are looking for, are not available on the market because their authors aren't public figures in some way or another. So after I had sort of heard that a few times and sort of did my gasping and irony, I sat down and I took stock and I thought to myself, what do I need to do to put this book out into the world? And the answer was to self-publish. And then I thought to myself, I don't know anything about this and I'm going to mess this up. And I certainly didn't want to do that with my baby. And unfortunately, it is not generally, the word is encouraged to feel deeply or emotional attachment to your work, but I don't think that you can write well unless you feel deeply about what it is that you're writing. So I do feel deeply about this, and my concern about self-publishing was that I was going to mess it up, and that publishing is something, self or otherwise, where if you do it wrong, you might make a mistake that could last in perpetuity, and you won't have given your baby a chance to succeed in the world because of your own ignorance. And I just didn't feel that that was right. So my next solution was that I would write a few short stories. And short stories to me come out very, very quickly. I never had an issue with that. I sort of source from dreams, I source from daily life, I source from my imagination. I source from my dog, and I feel like this book essentially came about surprisingly quickly, and did not provide too much of an issue for me. These flowed from me, and I love some more than others, but I wrote this book probably faster than other people would realize, maybe not, who knows. And from this book came this book, which was another sort of short story that ended up asking more of me. So by the time I was done with my initial sort of hesitation, I started with one, and I ended up with 3. And to be honest, and I'll sort of go over this later, that netted me a more beneficial outcome, and it put me in a position where I had a catalog, and I could utilize this catalog to my best advantage and build a press around my stories. So that was the sort of nascence of Talon and Quill. And this series is meant to walk through my process from start to finish and hopefully guide in some ways some new authors who are sort of stuck in the same pattern as I was. So, with that, let's begin.